You're listening to From Our Lens, a podcast for photographers and brides where we dive into all things weddings.
Whether you're a pro behind the lens or a bride-to-be, we've got you covered.
Join in on the conversation and take it from the gals who have been to a wedding or two.
Grab your camera or your wedding planner and tune in for our hot wedding takes. Let's focus on your forever. Hello.
Hi.
Welcome back.
Hi, Sarah.
How are you, Jordan?
Great. I'm doing great.
Great. How's your day going?
Good. I went for a massage this morning and I feel like a whole brand new person.
That's the best.
Just your reminder to go get your massages. And then I booked myself in for another one. So I'm very proud of myself.
That's something on my to-do list. I am in dire need of a massage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just our little reminder. I know I forget that like it's good for you and then I go and then they're like, ooh, your whole back is a knot. And I'm like, should have went a long time ago.
Yeah.
I haven't been for like 3 years.
I think I'd be scared to go.
The time I went before today, last time, they told me that it felt like I was in a car accident.
Yeah.
So I think maybe that just scared me and I haven't went back.
A car accident of being a wedding photographer.
Yeah.
Yeah. And thank you everyone for entering our giveaway.
Oh my God. Yeah. It's crazy how many of you guys are entering. Like,
yeah, it's so good.
But it's nice to see you guys. Like, see all your faces and names.
No, it's popping off. And this will be, when this is out, this will be the day that the winner is announced. So make sure you go check out our Instagram.
Yeah, we're going to announce it later today, probably on Tuesday together. And I'm excited to see who wins.
Yeah.
I'm really excited.
So excited. Oh. No, it's been fun to see everyone commenting and sharing and doing the whole thing. So thank you very much. Yeah. But we decided, since we have some new followers on here, to do a little question for all of you. So we decided to put out there, what are your wedding regrets? And then on the flip side of that, we decided to say, like, what are things that you loved about your wedding? So we have like the negative and the positive, like the things that you wish you would have done, the things you regret doing, and then the things that you were like, heck yeah, I'm so glad I did this. So and you guys came through with the responses. We got so many good ones.
Yeah, I know. I even got some like just direct messages too. And it's nice to hear. It's nice to hear like what you guys like reflect on, because like as photographers, like our opinions are a lot different than brides that actually have gotten married. So
yeah, totally. We don't have that side of the experience yet.
No, not yet.
No. But yeah, do you want to kick it off, Jordan?
Yeah. What should we start with?
I think we should start with the regrets.
Our regrets? Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. So I wish we had made more time to get pictures with guests, which I feel like that's a common one. I think for probably 50-50. I think a lot of people do, like, but depending on, I guess, when you got married, and like what era of like bridal trends you would have got married in. But if you were like really a part of like the group of people that got married when pictures and like were like the main focus and not like candids, documentary photos, stuff like that, and maybe like your photographer was only focused on the pictures of you two, I can see where like missing out on some pictures with your guests and like hanging out in candids would maybe not have made your gallery if that wasn't part of the trends back then. So I can understand that. That's why as like a photographer, I usually try and like take as many pictures of guests hanging out and like people talking, like my bride and grooms talking to their guests. I take as many of those pictures as I can, because I know that it's important, and it's like all these people came to your wedding for a reason. You should want pictures of them, right? But on the flip side, you can only get pictures like this if you hang out with your guests.
Yes, that's so true. Because a lot of timelines, like if you're not going to the cocktail hour, and if you're not and if you don't have your photographer there covering your dance, when are you going to get those pictures with your guests? So,
well, exactly, right? And like, even if it's as simple as like getting on your dance floor and dancing with your guests, like if your photographer's there, they should be taking pictures of that. And so that even just like small things like that can help you get those little pictures with your guests that you might not get.
Yeah. And people now are doing that, like, they're especially, I didn't see it as much this summer, but last summer people would do that thing where it's like you play one song and then the photographer has to try and get a picture of the couple with each table. That game is so chaotic, and like you got to make sure you tell your photographer that, because otherwise that could be a lot of pressure on your photographer. But that's one way. And like the pictures are goofy and chaotic and people are doing silly things, but like that's one way to ensure that you're getting a photo with each guest. Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Oh my God, yeah. Yeah. That's why I like those games. I think some people do, like you said, find them a little chaotic and like stressful.
But it's fun.
But it's
something
fun.
different.
And they're not perfect pictures, which is the whole point. And you get pictures with everybody. Everybody's happy to be included in pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's definitely ways to like make that happen.
Yeah.
And
with that, like, especially with, okay, so this goes on to like receiving lines. A receiving line can sometimes take like 2 hours because people want to talk. They want to catch up, like, especially if you have a big wedding. So doing that little game or something to that sense is a good way of like making sure people know that like you can't stay and talk for 10 minutes. Like you have to go from, I've had it where, you know, people try and do it and it's not like, they're not following enough, and then you just end up not doing the rest of the tables because they start talking and people start getting drinks and whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then second part of this one as well. I wish we would have taken a minute after the ceremony, just the two of us, to connect and take it all in, which I think is also a very common one. I think a lot of people just go straight into pictures or straight into a receiving line, and you don't get that second with your partner to say, "Oh my God, like we actually just got married." Like how wild. But you know what? It's nice to see that this year I feel like I've seen my couples like take that few minutes to soak it all in. I feel like a lot more than like recent years I've seen it, which is really nice and refreshing because I want you to have that time. Like, yeah, like you get like little time together when we're taking pictures, but then we're there. Like there's always someone there after that part. So like that's kind of your only chance to have like a few minutes to yourself.
Oh, totally. No, I think that's definitely been, I don't know if it's a trend or people are just tired of spending wedding days like never seeing their significant other. So this year more than any, people have been like, okay, we're going to go have a picnic for half an hour. We're going to like do sunset photos so we have a break from the chaos. Yeah. No, I think that's a really good one. Yeah. And so valid. Okay. Do you want me to do the next one?
Yeah, you go for one.
Yeah,
next.
I think we'll just go back and forth, hey?
Yeah.
Okay. So this one I just thought was kind of funny. Wasting time on silly little signs around the venue. I didn't really care about this kind of stuff, but Pinterest convinced me that I needed them. These took time and were faff, I don't know what that means, and honestly just didn't really make any real difference in the day. Our venue didn't need any signage, so I just feel like this was one thing I could have done without, and it would have been less to worry about. I didn't sleep well for well over 2 weeks before the wedding. Removing silly little things like this probably would have helped. And this is a thing. Don't let TikTok, Pinterest, Instagram make you think that you need all of this stuff. Yes. Like the signs, like the homemade like table decorations, like just do whatever you want. And I think that's such a good example of like, don't let like social media make you do things that you genuinely don't want to do.
And like even like probably the time she would have spent making the signs.
Yes.
I'm sure she would have made them. Like before your wedding, there's other things you can be doing that I'm sure she would have rather have been doing.
Like she said she didn't sleep for 2 weeks before her wedding because she was like trying to finish all these signs.
And like the signs are great for like your photographer to take a few pictures of, but really at the end of the day, does it really change your wedding day?
No. And there's cute little things that you can do, but I think like unless that's your thing, like if you're like a Cricut master and you live for that kind of stuff, then go for it. But if it's not your thing, don't let social media make you think that you have to do that to have a cute wedding.
That's very much a like social media thing.
Yes.
Because you see everybody else doing it and you're like, oh, I have to do it. I have to. And that's really
especially
not the case.
TikTok. Like I think so many people get so overwhelmed with all of these things that they see on TikTok and they try to incorporate them into their wedding and they're like, no, that was one.
Inviting people I didn't want to.
Heck yeah.
There's a second part to this. People like family I don't know. So this could be friends. This could also be family you don't know. Yeah. I think this is also changing in the industry lately, which is nice to see. But like obviously there's still people that get pressured maybe by family to invite people that they don't want to have there et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, really, I think it's hard to say no to your family. Like that's, I think that's what it comes down to.
And if you invite one auntie on this side, you have to invite the other one, and it gets very interesting.
But you don't have to.
No,
you don't have to.
Yeah, and that's what we're trying to preach on this podcast.
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, it's hard. I mean, I don't even have like a great answer for this because it's different family to family on like how you navigate that kind of stuff. Yeah. But it's definitely like a conversation that like you have to have. If you don't want those people there, I don't think it should be something that you're like just like, oh, fine, they can come. Yeah. Like it's your wedding. It's not like it's a family reunion that we're not inviting Auntie Sue to. Like that makes sense. I can understand why Auntie Sue would be upset about not going to the family reunion.
Yeah. And I think a lot of time it becomes a family reunion.
Well, right.
Where you're meeting people that you've never met, like your third cousin from.
Yeah. Like I don't think that there is any way that it's okay to be like meeting people for the first time that are your family on your wedding. I can understand maybe like your friends plus one if you haven't met them yet. Like I understand those little things, but if you're inviting family at a wedding, like, I don't think it's the place.
I saw this. We were just bashing TikTok, but now I'm referencing a TikTok. But I saw this TikTok, and these girls were talking about like if you wouldn't call someone on the phone and have like a visit with them, then they shouldn't be invited to your wedding. I think that's like for a more intimate one, but
invite them.
Or just someone you would go to dinner with. Like, would it be awkward?
Yeah, that too.
You know?
That too.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, it's just the navigation of that, which makes that difficult, which I know.
Or just making a rule for yourself. Like, if you genuinely haven't met someone, like, do you want them at your wedding? I don't know. Like, it kind of depends. So the amount of weddings I've been to where people are being introduced to family members is so every wedding, right? So
yeah, it's wild.
If you want a smaller wedding and you want to crunch down, then that's a really good rule, I think.
I think so too.
Yeah. So this one's interesting because I have like this take and then the opposite take. So not doing a first look because with so many people watching, it wasn't as intimate as of a moment as I thought it would be. Which I don't know. I think people, you don't really know how the moment's going to be until you're there walking down the aisle. And if you are kind of like a reserved, shy person, yeah, it probably is stressful.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I think this one is very much, it will change person to person on people's opinions on it. So there's really no right or wrong way to take this one. But it's like, I think if you're the shy person and you don't want to share that, that's when you decide maybe to have a first look. But if you want that moment and you think that the buildup will help you have that like beautiful moment together and sing each other across the aisle, like that's your dream, like then you probably should. Yeah. But that's the thing, it's person to person.
Yeah, I think it's totally person to person, and you really have to think about your relationship and your personality type, and even like kind of think about like PDA. Like, are you someone who can express your emotions in front of people? Because if you're not, then you're probably not going to cry when she walks down the aisle, or you're not going to feel emotional because you're stressed about like everyone looking at you. Okay, that's a good person to do a first look because then it's intimate. But like if you don't care, I still love that like moment of walking down the aisle, but I think it's completely depends person to person.
Yeah. No right or wrong.
Okay. Totally.
Okay. Not taking more time for my family photos. Ended up missing pictures that are important.
Yeah.
I think again, this I think this one depends on like your photographer, like your timeline. If you really like, I think some photographers just get caught up again. Like I kind of talked about this at the beginning, but in the pretty pictures, and it's like, oh, it's family pictures. We just need to get these done and like go off to the portraits. And it's like, hey, but like, I know like for us photographers, we don't know those families. Yeah. But it's our job to document those families as if they were our families.
Yeah, totally.
And family photos are very important.
Yes. Probably one of the most important parts of your day. It's probably one of the most like annoying and kind of like seems like a big job. But in the grand scheme of things, when you look back at your wedding, you want to see those family photos.
Yeah, I feel like when you look back at your wedding, you're going to be looking at family photos.
Yep.
And your portraits and your ceremony probably. And those are like probably the top three. I'll be looking at everything, but I think those are like the top three things that you're looking at. But yeah, I think, and that's that too, like, even if it's just saying to your photographer, hey, like, I don't want to rush through family photos. Like, they're very important to me. I want to like take the nice photos, have time to adjust everything, all that stuff. And I know like it's weddings. Sometimes times just get skewed and like sometimes we are rushing through things, but at least having the chat with your photographer.
And also like reflect that in your timeline then. And like, okay, say I want an hour for family photos instead of 20 minutes. Like for the most part, it seems like people are like, here's the list. We're going to rip through this, get it done as quick as possible. But like a different take is those are the photos that are going to be on the walls. Those are the photos that are going to be looked back on. So I think that there's two different, and I see both perspectives in that because it is kind of a pain in the butt, but
yeah, exactly.
No, totally. Not having someone film the speeches. I think that's such a good one.
Yep.
Because even if you don't have a videographer, having a good copy of the speeches, because a wedding is a big like mental, like you're out of it, you're going through the motions, you're not really taking things in because there's so much going on, and you probably won't remember like all of what they said in those speeches because you also have how many speeches going on. So I think even if someone can film it on iPhone, or like some photographers offer video packages just to record the speeches, I think that is such a good thing to do.
Well, and that even could be someone on a phone with one tripod tucked away in the corner, or like tucked by the speeches. It doesn't have to be a big like production to get the speeches recorded. It doesn't have to be. But as long as you like, I know I have speeches like from my graduation, like recorded from like 10 years ago.
Probably on little handheld camcorder.
Right. And it's not like it's for it to be perfect video. I didn't want that. It's just to remember the moment by, because it's important. It's cool.
Yeah. No, I think that that's something, and especially if no one films it, like you have no memory of that. And like you have to look, and it's different when someone is presenting a speech and they're up there and they're saying it versus looking at it on a piece of paper.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So I think that was a really, really good one.
Yeah. Okay. Drinking too much.
Oh.
I feel like this is such a common regret. Like, no one's saying we don't want you to have fun on your wedding, because we 100% do. But there is that line. There's that line. And I know from experience, we all know from experience, sometimes it's hard to tell. At a wedding, you don't eat very much, and it's very easy to drink too much. But I think it's maybe just another reminder to drink your water.
Yes.
Eat your food. Do all the things.
Yeah. Because you want to remember your wedding, and when you're too drunk, you probably won't remember.
No.
And I think this is important for bridal party members as well.
Yes.
Like, yes. And like as a bridal party, you need to have fun. You need to be enjoying yourself. But like sometimes when the bridal party's so drunk, it's so hard to
do anything.
Things. Even to get them like wrangled together to go into the like venue is a task.
Even if we're thinking about like, you're trying to make the bride and groom have the best day possible. You're there to support them. I don't think supporting them is getting too drunk that they have to take care of you.
No. You can have fun and like save the heavy, craziness till the dance. But I think, there's a line. There's definitely a line.
There is a line. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So funny. Not staying together all night. I feel like everyone pulled us away from each other. I think that's a really good one because, and I don't know how you make this, like I've seen the TikToks where it's like, don't leave each other's side all day. And it's like, okay, you're going to handcuff each other to each other. You're going to handcuff yourself to each other. Like, I don't know how you do that without, especially like at a dance and you're seeing people. But I guess if you just like tell each other to be intentional about trying to be at least in the same arm's distance, like don't be going off like all night being completely separate from each other.
Yeah, and I feel like that's like one person goes outside to hang out and one person stays inside.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
stuff like that. And it's just like you said too, being intentional about it.
No, I think that that's a really good one.
This kind of goes, it's hand in hand with I think what the first one that I said and one that you just said, but made it more known that like we had a receiving line at the church. Because then we didn't have time to talk to that many people at supper, and I feel insane guilt that we didn't talk to more people at our dance. And I think that like receiving lines are becoming less common.
Yes.
So I think a lot of people don't expect people to do them anymore. So if you don't tell your guests that things are happening, they're not going to know, which is fair, or even just have an announcement. And then maybe they don't know, and then they don't go and hug you, and then
that's true.
The night's busy, and it's hard.
Yeah.
So just even if it's, I think that's just like making sure that everybody is, reading their emails. You can't control who reads their emails, saying like,
and maybe setting it up in a way that they have to go through it. Like sometimes the only way to get past someone is like they do the receiving line at the exit. Like this summer I had a wedding where they did, they went to the outside of the church, and then everyone that came out had to do a quick picture with them. And they made it very clear at the ceremony, like, we're doing a quick photo and then you're gone. Like, we're not chatting to you. So they
I love
came
that.
out. Yep. They stood outside the church. And they were like, you can do couples, groups, families, whatever. And then everyone would pick their group. They came up, they did a picture, and then they left. And it went so fast. That was such a good, like, I was like, this is something that people should do more often.
I really like that.
I liked it better than the run around the tables thing. Like, obviously that was significantly quicker, but it was a good way to get a photo with every single person.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So this one says not chilling 15 minutes or 10 to 15 minutes before you walk down the aisle. So I feel like, wedding days can be very like, do. Like you have everything. Like you're on a 11:05, we're doing this. 11:10, we're doing this. So I think having that like breather time to like check in with yourself before is really important. Like if you get to the church, you have to walk in or, things like that, then you're more present. You're more like, I think it just helps your mindset of enjoying those things that you're doing instead of just being like rushed all day.
I think an easy way to help yourself set this up if you want to do stuff like that is, I try and do this, but adding breathing room into your timeline schedule instead of just having, okay, 1:05 we're doing this, 1:10 we're doing this, 1:15 we're doing this. Whenever I'm doing a schedule with my brides and grooms, I always try and like say I want 40 minutes per bridal party. I'll suggest that we do them for 50 minutes or an hour, even if I only need the 40 minutes, because then usually you have more time after, and then that gives people time to chill. Like I love doing portraits before the dinner, like the reception, getting them all done, getting all the shots, and then being like, oh my God, you guys, we have 15 minutes. Like you guys can go chill. And they're like, oh my God, what? Because they don't realize that they actually can chill. And I think too, like, especially like yours that you said there is like before the ceremony. I think having like the 15 minutes before you walk down to just literally sit there and like have everything just relax for a second is so important.
I agree.
So important.
Yeah. And I think it changes the whole experience.
Yeah. Yeah. You just to remember like, oh my God, like I'm walking down the aisle.
Yeah. To check in with yourself, because otherwise you're checked out. Like if you're, we're almost late, we need to get going now. Like your brain's in another place. So to be present and just be like, hey, I'm about to do this. Like this is what's happening.
Even if like this maybe is a hot topic, but you can tell me. But so say your wedding's at 3 p.m. That's the ceremony. That's when you're supposed to be walking down the aisle. And you get there at 2:55. So you have 5 minutes. But you want those 10 minutes, 15 minutes to just chill.
Yeah.
Is there anything wrong with taking those 15 minutes and walking down at 3:10?
Nah. Weddings are always late. People expect it.
I personally do not think there's anything wrong with that. It's, first of all, you planned the whole day. You can do whatever you want. Second of all,
totally.
Is anybody going to leave? No. They're waiting for you.
Yeah. You're the main event. Star of the show.
Third of all, just tell your husband, listen, I'm going to be 15 minutes late. I'm not running away. Relax. This is just the plan.
There you go.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Fashionably late.
Exactly.
No, I think that was a really good one too.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Not letting our guests take photos. We missed a bunch of moments. I like hot take again. But like I think photographers that hate when guests take photos are a little bit wrong. And when I say that, I just mean like it's a wedding celebration, and I don't think it's up to us photographers to say no phones allowed, no photos. Like absolutely not. Because what's wrong with guests being excited and taking photos? Unless
I
they're
think
being
it's kind of
obnoxious.
I love to take pictures of guests, like grandmas and stuff, like taking photos on their iPhone. Like,
Me
I don't
too.
know. I think it's cute. Like, I get it for the ceremony. Like, it isn't the cutest thing to have a bunch of phones out, but like,
yeah.
I don't know. And then as a bride, you get to look at all these photos the next day.
Well, 100%. And that's exactly why I've been doing the content creation. Because if you think about it, that's pretty much this.
Yeah.
From our perspective, it's like photos and pictures and videos that your guests would take.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I don't mind when guests
Yeah.
take photos, and I think that it doesn't really need to happen where we
Yeah.
ban phones from photos. It's part of our life.
And I saw this on Threads the other day, and it was like every photographer hates the moment when they're getting like they're doing the like pre-ceremony and the officiant's up there, and he's like, and we are doing an unplugged ceremony because we have professional photographers here, and everyone looks at you like, oh, you're the one that's decide that we can't take pictures, and then they're watching you the whole time because they're like, you better be doing a good job if we're not allowed to take our phone photos.
Stop.
Isn't that true?
Yeah, it is true.
I felt that on such a deep level. Like everyone looks at you in that moment like, oh, you're the guy.
Well, I always feel like it makes me look like I've asked them to say that. And it's like, no, I don't. I did not ask for them to say this.
Yeah.
I promise. I promise you.
I know.
Yeah.
But they need to specify maybe that it's their choice because, sometimes everyone's like, they look at you.
Yes.
Was this one mine?
Yeah, you're next.
I think
yeah.
so. Okay. Okay. It says, I wish I would have hired a professional videographer. I was trying to make a budget cut, so that's what I cut. I got my cousin to make a video for us instead, but he didn't do a great job. LMAO.
Fair.
I think that's a good...
I mean, it's just
I think
a
it does
reminder.
make a difference. And it depends what you want your final product to be. And also there's the risks of not hiring a professional, right? Like...
Yeah. I think if you just want some clips and you're not really worried about it being professional... Maybe that is a good option for you to just do like the camcorder thing.
Yeah,
and
totally.
have like a friend do it.
Yeah.
But if that's really important to you to have it, like if you want it to look very professional, the only way to do that is to hire a professional.
Yeah.
Right? Like
totally.
That's going to be what it's going to be.
Yeah.
All right. So this one is like a 3-parter.
Okay, let's go.
So it says, okay, so many ... Okay. Number 1, listening to other people instead of doing what we want.
Yeah.
So that kind of goes in with, I think, a lot of these regrets is just doing things they didn't want to do.
100%. Because you think you have to. Yeah.
Yes. Not going all out. So
that means like all out in like budget?
I don't know.
No. I would say probably all out is in like doing all the things you wanted, hiring the vendors you wanted. Yeah.
Probably that. And and that's the thing. Like, I think that's actually kind of a hot topic because I think a lot of people think like, oh, they didn't do the big wedding. They didn't go all out.
Yeah.
And their small wedding was so much better. But this is kind of the opposite. It's saying like, we wished we would have done that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of a hot one.
Yeah.
Also not getting a coordinator and letting family dictate how we spent time on that day.
Yeah.
Because I think when you have a coordinator, they plan it. It's not like, I think almost when you have a coordinator, they take a little bit of the fall for things, if that makes sense.
Totally.
Like instead of you saying, oh, mom and dad, like I'm not doing this because I don't want to, like you almost can say, yeah, like this is what the wedding coordinator put together for us. Like this is what we're doing. You can talk to them if you have any issues, right?
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like that middle person.
Yeah.
Even on the wedding day, like letting our family dictate how we spent our time. It's like, if
the
you tell your
coordinator
wedding
can be
planner,
the bad guy and be
Well,
like,
that's
sorry,
the
no, this
thing.
is the timeline. This is what the bride
Yes.
wants. You don't have to be the bad guy.
Yeah. And also your family, your family should not be telling you what to do. You should be doing
No.
whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
And then lastly, having it somewhere we didn't want to, just settling in general because I was tired of trying to, which makes me sad. That makes me very
That's
sad.
so sad.
But that's the thing. Again, just like you need to go with your heart. And settling should not be a thing when it's your wedding.
I agree.
I feel like you can settle for a lot of things in life that aren't like a part of you, but your wedding is a part of you.
Yeah. And if you
shouldn't
have
be
to
settling.
go, like if you have to wait a bit or do a smaller guest count, like just do what you want and then you're going to be happy with, And don't do what everyone else wants. Do what you want. That is
what
like
you want.
number 1.
As hard as it is. Yes.
Totally. This one says, I'd say a regret is not choosing vendors that matched my style and hoping they do what I wanted, even if it cost extra. So I think they're saying, like, if you choose a vendor that's not your style because they're less money, or, you know, there's lots of reasons. And I think people really, like, this is a big one because a lot of people just choose whatever photographer is available, or, you know, but making sure it's your style, making sure, you know, and if you're going to pick someone because they cost less, like,
you might have to just settle for the fact that they're not going to be your style.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And that might be a regret, like this person said, right? So yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah.
Wish we would have gotten sunset photos.
That's something that I think all of us photographers can agree with. We love a good sunset.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah. I think every wedding day doesn't, like, you don't always get a sunset, first of all. So that's one thing. But and some timelines you just don't, there's no time for sunset. But I think if that's something that you like, if you love sunset, sneak out for 15 minutes.
And it's such a nice little break. Yeah. Yeah. Like, honestly.
Even if it's, and even if it's not even just for the photos, but just to have a break together and like go outside.
Yeah.
I think that's even more important than just taking the sunset photos.
Oh, yeah. Me too. Being so worried about other people's feelings when it wasn't about them. I think that this one also is so important because a lot of drama can happen at a wedding and people can just really make it about themselves when, you know, it's your wedding, it's your thing. It's about you and your significant other. Like, and how do you deal with that? You just put it onto someone else, say you can handle this, or
that's what I would do, honestly.
Yeah. And sometimes people's feelings are gonna get hurt, whether it comes to like bridal party or parents or, you know, like.
And this is the thing, like, their feelings may get hurt, but it's like at the end of the day, I don't even know if I'd feel bad about it. Like, don't feel bad about that. Their feelings are hurt, but it's not your fault.
No, exactly.
Like, that's my bluntness coming out, but it's like that's a them problem.
They had their chance, their wedding. They did with you know, their thing. Exactly. So yeah, I think that was a really good one. But Jordan, do you have any wedding regrets that you've seen people regret?
I was gonna say, well,
your many weddings you've had.
I was gonna say I've never been married.
Yeah,
but
what's something you've seen people regret?
Oh gosh,
I'm
all the things we just talked about. Yeah, you go first because we just talked about all mine.
I feel like one thing that I see a lot of people regret is doing the big wedding. And even if they've like downsized, they still say, I wish we would have eloped, or I wish we would have had a COVID wedding. Because I don't know, I feel like a lot of people are forced into doing the big wedding. And I think it works for a lot of people. But I don't know. I think every review I've heard from couples was like, I wish we would have just eloped. I wish we would have done a small wedding. I think that's like the number one thing. Yeah. Because especially if you're not that kind of person, like, that would not be fun.
No.
Like, definitely 100%. Not. Yeah. Anything you can think of?
I think if I was going to say anything, it'd be the big wedding because we were kind of on the same page for that.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if we said it all.
Those are really good ones, though.
That was great. I love it.
Yeah, you guys.
Everybody really pulled through. They really pulled through for us. I can't wait to share the happy things. It's going to be a very wholesome episode.
I know. This one was like, but I think that there's so many good takeaways in this. Like, if you are planning a wedding, it's good to think about that because, you know, a lot of people will say the good things, but like, I don't know as often if people go through like things that they do regret. I don't know. It kind of depends, but
yeah.
I'm just going to check and see if there's any more.
Oh, yeah. See if we have any stragglers.
Oh, there's some funny ones now. Oh, we got
sweet.
More.
Yeah.
Okay, dang.
Okay.
We might have to do a part 2 of the regrets.
There's more. Okay. We'll just keep going. We're going to keep rolling.
So this one said, I don't remember eating till supper time and I was starving. I think that's such a common bride thing.
Not eating.
Yes. Like, make sure, I know you're so nervous and stuff, but like, yeah. And then part 2 of this one, also having some kind of breakfast organized for the morning of while everyone is getting ready.
Well, I think that's the thing. If you want to eat, you definitely can't rely on yourself because you don't physically have time to feed yourself. So you almost have to delegate that. And even if it is going to pick up Tim Hortons, or even if it's like mother-in-law cooking up scrambled eggs, like,
yeah, totally. Someone would be down to do that.
Yeah.
Especially if like one of the first bridesmaids say they got their makeup done first. They could make eggs, or, you know, one time at a wedding, they did like a smoothie bar. So they had like all the different things for smoothies, and then you could just go through and like make up your cup and then put your magic bullet thing in. Like, you have to have something because you're drinking, you're not eating, you're like, it's a long day.
It's a long day full of nerves and excitement, which means you burn more calories and you're more hungry. You can get like, listen, I know I get hangry. Same. So if I want to be happy on my wedding day, you need to feed me some chicken nuggets and some fries.
Maybe you order McDonald's.
Yeah, honestly, like, I need it.
Yeah, no,
or
that's
else I'm
really
gonna be a little grumpy.
Yeah. This one says, the day was about my husband and I made it more about like I was hosting. So this one really, it makes us want to sell coordinators. Not sell coordinators, but like promote coordinators.
Promote hiring one. Yeah.
Yes. Because that is the reason. Like, if you don't want to be hosting, you don't want to be like worried that the food's coming out at this time, or like people are enjoying themselves. That's why you need to give that job to someone else, because as a bride, your husband doesn't care about that. Like, they're doing their own thing most of the time. So I think that's actually a really good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even just hosting, I think when I think about hosting, that's making sure you talk to everybody.
Yes.
And I think that's, again, a hot topic because we had one in here. It's like I didn't talk to people enough. But I think maybe part of her regret is like she just spent the night talking to people and like catching up instead of enjoying her own wedding day, which I know that's part of it. And there's like give and take. But I think if you're spending your whole night just talking to people instead of enjoying it, that's almost too much, I think.
And I feel like that could also be a regret for people too. Like saying, like this one actually that just came up said, I was worrying too much about everyone else enjoying their time that they weren't even dancing. They're like, I wish I would have danced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No. Yeah. Those are good ones
Enjoy
to
your
like
day.
end it off with. Yeah. Because I don't know. I think like that whole like feeling like you're hosting, not enjoying your wedding, like that is so common. Like so common.
We don't want that.
No. But we really ran our time with our regrets. So we're going to have to make this a two-parter. We're going to have like our favorite wedding memes on the next episode here. So yeah. And congrats to whoever won the giveaway. It'll be officially out when this is released.
It's gonna be a hoot.
Yeah. I can't wait to see what creative kind of thing we have. And like the story, I feel like it'll be fun to make like more of a story with a session too, since it's like the Super 8.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. And thank you guys for submitting too and everything. But yeah, we will see you next week with the wedding. What are we calling it? Wedding faves, wedding loves.
Your wedding I do's.
Wedding I do's. I don't know. We'll have to come up with that at some point.
Yeah, but things that you did not regret.
Yes, that's good. That's good.
Coming up next week on the pod. Oh wow, look at that exit. Did you hear that? That was
you
really
sound like a
sound like a Oprah.
Well, you're always referencing Oprah.
You know, it's funny. I like barely watched Oprah.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's so funny. Yeah. Well, thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.